Hari Om. Dear fellow member of Vasudev Kutum, dear fellow wave on the ocean of pure consciousness, today we shall have part of our second rendition of the Muktananda Gita, also known as Song of the Path, and the Siddha Gita. We'll have a second rendition of the Preface, only this time with a short commentary on the various paragraphs. What do we mean when we seek inner enlightenment, self-realization, God-realization? Let me repeat that. What do we mean when we seek inner enlightenment, self-realization, God-realization? Kabir, who sang his teachings and was a great saint of his time, tells us, Suno bhai sadhu, I am not to be found in temples, nor in holy shrines, nor in pilgrimages. I am close to you always. Now this is a marvelous statement from a Noah. Someone who lived with God daily, who saw God everywhere, who saw God within him. When he shut his eyes in his third eye, he saw the statue of God. He saw the speaking God. He heard the speaking God. God was with him all the time. And what did he tell us? He didn't find it in temples, nor in holy shrines, nor in pilgrimages. I am close to you always. The one that you seek is closer to you than your own breath. This is his message. The God that we seek, the truth that we seek, lies a few inches above our very own nose. Our body itself is the true temple of God. When we practice and our third eye opens, there itself, right above the nose, lies the truth, the fundamental truth, coated in bliss and happiness and joy beyond belief, beyond understanding, the peace that passes understanding. Coated in all that lies the truth, right above our own nose. We don't have to go around the world in jumbo jets or whatever to find the truth. It is right within us. This is the message. This is Nityananda's message coming up. The true temple of God, the body, is in fact simply the outer decorative covering of the inner self. When we realize the truth, that we see that the truth is like the cinema screen on which the self, inner self, is the cinema screen on which images are projected. We are an image projected on a cinema screen. So naturally, we are also part of the cinema screen. We are an inch of the cinema screen. We are just an image on that cinema screen. Therefore, we are just the outer decorative covering of the inner self. If you took away that image, the inner self would still remain. So the inner self is timeless, ever present, everywhere. And we are the images that come and go. We are the images that come and go. In what we call birth and death. So we are the outer decorative covering of the inner self. Our grandfather used to say, in Siddha's Gita, I've taken this particular phrase from Siddha's Gita, when he talks about Lord Shiva, and says, there is no such thing as Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is simply the outer decorative covering of Hari. Hari, the ever-present, everywhere. Shiva is simply the outer decorative covering. And we are all, in other words, outer decorative covering of the inner self. It is the veil of Maya, the cloak of illusion of our own ego, our own thought-filled mind that hides the truth from us, the divine reality from us. When the ego dissolves in the divine inner yogic fire, as a result of our earnest spiritual practice, there comes a time when all thoughts cease, when the curtain of illusion passes, and then when we close our eyes in meditation, we experience the opening of our third eye, in the middle of our forehead, and in the cool, dark blue light of consciousness, we see the inner divine reality, the inner truth. We see the sparkling blue pearl, and within it the form of God. In that one paragraph lies all religion, all that you need to know. It is the process of sadhana, it is the process of what you get at the end of the sadhana, and what you experience during the sadhana. It is all a question of this huge. We are born with this huge curtain. It's really composed of all the thoughts we've inherited from our past lives. All the thoughts and all the mental processes and all the desires we've inherited from our past lives, all the karmic reaction of our past lives. So, in order to get rid of all that, the curtain on the truth, that we have to practice sadhana. And sadhana means what? Chanting, chanting, chanting. Silence, silence, silence. Tapa, tapa, tapa. Company of the good, company of the seekers, company of seekers, company of seekers. This is what sadhana means. It's giving knowledge to others, giving knowledge to those who don't know yet, giving knowledge to others. That's seva. That's the essential seva which gets you across the Maya, the ocean of Maya. After all, you can only earn what you give others. So if you give others the ability to go past Maya, you yourself go past Maya. So it's a cause and effect. So in this one paragraph, we lay all we need to know about. I think you repeat this part. It's such an important paragraph. It is the veil of Maya, the cloak of illusion, of our own ego, our own thought-filled mind, which hides the truth, the divine reality from us. When the ego dissolves in the divine inner yogic fire, as a result of our earnest spiritual practice, there comes a time when all thoughts cease, when the curtain of illusion parts, and then when we close our eyes in meditation, we experience the opening of our third eye in the middle of our forehead, and in the cool, dark blue light of consciousness, we see the inner divine reality, the inner truth. We see the sparkling blue pearl, and within it, the form of God. Very, very important paragraph. You should keep reading this until you know it by heart. Next paragraph. And then, when the yogi opens his eyes in this new state of consciousness, he opens his eyes, what does he see? I quote a verse from the Song of the Path. He sees the cosmic intelligence playing within each insect, in each gust of wind, in each child, speaking to him in 100 different ways, in whichever direction he turns, explaining events, playing with him, a guru's commentary on his present state, a celebration of successful effort, the loving humorous play of a little child, presenting skits and plays specially for his benefit, any time of the night and day. This is an enchanting part of religion, of the truth. You realize this is the reward you get. Life becomes, anywhere you go, you're seeing a television play, you're seeing a movie. Nothing else remains real except the inner self which is everywhere, and in a very humorous way. So long as you're doing a seva, it's very humorous. If you don't do your seva, then it's not so humorous. So one must keep doing. Realization doesn't mean you stop your practices of seva, etc. And silence. These are the two things which are important. And to the extent you can't be silent, you must chant also. Because the chanting gets rid of any further thoughts you earn by talking to others. Again, Song of the Path. He can suddenly see for miles, hear distant sounds. The haze of pure consciousness envelops the entire world. He sees for the first time. Sunlight scalds the eyes with a sparkling intensity. His voice becomes an effortless melody, his work a joyous play. But again, this is just describing the rewards you get at the end of the story. It's a long story, it's an arduous story, it's a story which requires great self-effort and great, the two important aspects of mumuksha and vairag. Vairag meaning detachment from the world. It's not so difficult the more you get into religion, the more peace you obtain, the more happiness you obtain, the more you want to be further on the path. So vairag is not so, once you start, the thing is to start. When you start, everything else follows. You start the chanting, start the seva. These are the two important starting points, chanting and seva. And the third, the other point is mumuksha. That again comes, the more you realize that how beautiful the truth is, you see it shining in the faces of others, you see others talk about it, and then you start experiencing it for yourself, the wonder of realization. So it's not something which should be hidden away in textbooks or in a beautifully covered Guru Gita book or Bhagavad Gita, beautifully covered and kept and never studied. But it's right there, a living reality. Religion is a living reality. It's a very, very beautiful thing. Enough for today. Thank you for listening.